Welcome back to Garage Clips. We're here to talk to you about stabilization. We're going to talk even more in the Garage Clips, more specifically about different exercises and cues you can use to really tune in and fine-tune your cueing as well as the feeling in your body to ensure that you're using the right muscles as you perform this active rest series. So, some exercises lend themselves to destabilization, and those are typically planks as well as lunges. So remember, the first thing we do is that sun salutation series. When you're reaching the arms up, you're still thinking about sliding the shoulder blades down your back, maintaining the stabilization in your shoulder girdle. Even though you're not holding on to anything, there's a difference between this versus keeping the shoulder blade down, because this will allow for your rotator cuff to have more space as you move the arms around and circle them down as she dives forward. When you transition into a plank position, the tendency is to destabilize. We tend to drop our hips down and then get this kind of, we call it winging of the shoulder blades. So cueing for instructors, and for you at home, imagine that we're doing this. Think about lifting the hips up. Think about maybe it might be knitting the ribs together, drawing the shoulder blades together and down, and cueing yourself throughout. Do I need to lift up a little bit more? Do I need to connect a little bit more? Can I move my shoulder blades together a little bit more? And then once you have this nice fine line, you'll know you're there because you'll feel your abdominals kick in just a little bit differently. The next what you'll think about is this shoulder blade one more time. You'll think about sliding it back and down, and then draw your thought process to your elbows, your wrists, and your shoulder to one straight line. Our tendency is to bow out, and we internally rotate. That really pinches off the front of your shoulder, your rotator cuff. You have a lot of nerves and blood vessels that go through there, so give it space. How do you do that? You turn your shoulder blades slightly forward. It's called external rotation. You can bend the elbows slightly if you need to, and then allowing for better stabilization there. Now slowly bring that glide board back and slowly roll up. Another place that we oftentimes don't think about that destabilization is within our knee. So as we're going through the lunge series, think about what is your knee doing. Oftentimes we're trying to maintain our balance. So get the core strong. We'll talk about how to connect the abdominals a little bit more and think about your back to get that abdominal brace. So if you have that going, now really think about your knee. Is it bowing in or bowing out? You want to feel like your knee's tracking directly over the toe, not consistently over the toes, because that for some people might create pain. If you're with a trainer, or you, the trainer, know your clientele and that's their functionality and you feel comfortable, you can judge how far or how deep you want that lunge to go. If I don't know you and the trainer is unsure, or if you had a history of knee pain, it's better, safer just to keep the knee aligned with the toe. With that said, really watch for that bowing in and bowing out. The same can be said with the back leg. I was often the person in the back of the room who allowed my knee to bend. It was just my safety net. So I can have that. That can be fine if that's my intention. But oftentimes I either want it straight with my heel up or down. So then draw your attention to your knee in the back. Is your knee straight? And then is it turning in or turning out? You want that knee to be parallel to the floor. Now bring the glide board back. We move into what's called that side angle pose. This is where our toe turned out, and we did this right at the end after the triangle. We did the reaching. We then went into this side lunge. You reach for the glide board. This is the tendency when you're in this position because of range. We're going to talk about this in one of the clips about the torso, about what you want to think about there. But with respect to the knee, the tendency is to let it draw in or draw out. So in your mind, you might cue yourself to push gently away from your arm. If you have a tendency to feel like that knee is really far away and you don't even feel it against your arm, then your cue would be push it into your arm. So if you're rolling out, cue push the knee into your arm. If you feel like you're kind of letting your foot go flat and you're rolling in, then cue push away from your arm. So everyone's different. The next is that you transitioned and you added a rotation to this. So many times I just have people stop with their hands on their knees. When you add that rotation, in order for you to feel like you get there, we often tweak the knee in order to get there. So we'll really push and the knee will dive in. You'll feel more pressure in the inner part of your heel or perhaps on your big toe. Otherwise, you want to feel like your foot is equally pressured between the ball of your foot and your heel. And if you feel like you're pushing your knee out, some people may feel that as well, you want to then feel like you're pushing in. Most often, I see people drawing their knee in and then collapsing. So you want to, again, keep that knee over the ankle and aligned with the toes, and then slowly come on back. And you can bring the glide board in. So as you go through this routine, you want to think about, yes, the movement pattern, but pause and give yourselves cues. What are my knees doing? Are they facing forward? Are they turned out or turned in? Oftentimes, the cueing will be keep your knees parallel. I don't ever want to see too far in or too far out. The ideal is pressure through the ball of your foot and your heel so that you have equal weight bearing. It is very often when you're doing anything to let your knees draw in, if you're trying to get stabilization or you have a weakness in the core, you'll see this kind of diving in. If you are tight and you tend to be, we call the butt gripper, or tend to kind of tighten up here and hold back, then I'm gonna see the knees bowing out a little bit and even the toes bowing out. So as you're moving through this program, you'll start to know the routine. In the beginning, it's a lot. There's a learning curve. So as you learn the exercises and as you move fluidly, then start to think about, how am I stabilizing? Where am I generating this movement from? Are my shoulders back and down? Is my neck lengthened? Oftentimes, we're leading with the neck. Can you draw your chin kind of in and nod it a little bit so you have this length in the back of your neck? Are your shoulder blades back and down, like sitting into back pockets? Are my elbows hyperextended, or are they slightly bent and creating a space in this upper part of my shoulder? And then the knees. So just draw up and down the body and give yourselves cues and checks, because you're the one at home and you're the one who's being your own best trainer. And for the trainer out there, your clients are relying on you to help them build that body check to make sure they're reaching their goals.